Hey guys, it's Miss Rose, and I want to talk to you about the timeline and motif tracker. I do want to encourage all of you to take this seriously. Some of you are doing a great job. I'm really pleased with the work that you're doing, but some of you don't seem to even really be attempting to complete the tracking. Um, I can't say enough that you really need these final 3 weeks of the semester to be focusing. It's going to go fast. It's kind of ramping up a little bit. So you definitely want to be using all the time I give you as wisely as possible. Now, in order to improve for some of you, I definitely wanted to go over a few things and discuss some tips. So, first, let's talk about choosing your events in the description. Now, what I've done is just done scene one. I haven't gone into scene two and so forth. Um, so, even though you guys do two, I'm doing four for a whole scene just to kind of model for you what to do. So, when you choose your events, make sure you choose events from throughout the scene, not just in one little part. Um, you want to make sure the events are significant, they're meaty, they function, they have a purpose for in the play. When you write your description, you need to make sure that you describe who's in the scene and kind of what the scene's all about. And as you go, as you start to see how it's functioning and the meaning as a whole, you definitely want to start talking about that event and why it's important. Now, for the causes and outcomes, this is a more higher level thinking uh, question that you need to consider. So, and a lot of you are asking me questions that are revealing to me that you're really not reading as closely as you should be. When we're listening in class, hearing it read aloud, you may be daydreaming or trailing off and not really reading closely as we go. And if that's sort of how you're reading in class or not reading, which is the better term, you definitely want to really be paying attention so you can consider the causes and outcomes of this event. So when you describe your cause and outcome, this is very analytical, so it's going to require a little thinking on your part. You want to read closely. You want to think about why this event has occurred, why people are reacting the way they're reacting, how is it moving the plot forward. You really want to kind of consider the significance of the event and how it functions in the scene. Then, when you move into your motif, a couple of things. Some of you are choosing quotes that are way too simple. They're not meaty enough. They really aren't representing something that has depth, a pattern that has depth, or you haven't chosen a quote that really reveals the depth of the pattern. So the first thing is you want to make sure your quote is significant, meaty. You can analyze it. You also want to have your MLA citation. I don't have mine right now because I don't have the book with me, but I'll add those later. You definitely want the motif to be within the quote in some way. Light, you see light mentioned in paper lanterns and candlelight and things like that throughout the text. So it can change. It doesn't have to just be the word. It can change in different ways, but you definitely want that thing, that pattern, whatever it is you're tracking, to be present. And notice what I'm doing too. I'm kind of keeping to light, but I'm also noticing things about alcohol and I'm noticing some things about music. And it's okay to track 1 to 3 motifs, but I really wouldn't be trying to have a different motif every time you post something because the whole idea of the tracking poster will be about one pattern. And finally, your interpretive commentary, which is probably the most difficult part for a lot of you. You definitely want it to be analytical. So you should be using your sentence stems to help you write these if it's harder for you to be analytical. You also want to be using rhetorically accurate action verbs to help you say what it is that the